We started with the STAR method, I think talking about interviewing. Yeah, so again, I'm going to go over some common interview questions, and I will show you something today that would make you understand that interviews are easier. And then it has to start from your CV. For anybody anything, you can apply this skill anywhere now today. I mean, it's something I've done over and over again for my students. So I will share something with you right now, and I will explain to you, and that will give us an idea of common interview questions. You don't even have to guess them. You don't have to go online to search everywhere. For some specific roles, anyway, probably you'll be getting some SQL kind of questions. But when it comes to roles that are realistic, they don't start asking you, what is SQL, what is this, what is that. Sometimes they do, but this is the kind of interviews I have seen before for myself, my students, I know, while others come. So I'll stop sharing my screen and then share this particular one. Okay, good. If you can see my screen, just tell me what you can see. If I need to expand this, I will do that. Okay, so what's the first, okay, this, I'll correct this. What's the first word you can see on my screen? The first word, please type in the chat, please. So this is an interview for somebody, a lady, let me put it that way, who is to sit for an interview as the role is a procurement coordinator and data analyst. Procurement coordinator and data analyst. So it's like a combination of two roles. He's going to, let me see, he's going to use his data analysis skills um to coordinate procurement. Let me use it that way. So it's still the same word. Now, this is how you start. Um, You can see the prompt. With the information posted above and the knowledge of my background and job description, kindly draft maintain strong interview questions and answers for the role using STAR approach. Excuse me. Kindly elaborate the answers using my company name and tailoring the experiences. Seems long. So let me give you the background. When you're preparing for an interview, you're being called for an interview. The first is that the fact that you were invited or that you were called shows that they saw something on your CV that they love. That so why they called you for that interview is for you to come and show yourself and defend that CV face to face. Now, not when I use the word defend, it sounds somehow, but I mean they want you to come and say those things you did, giving us a better context. What they are trying to say is you are coming to discuss what is in your CV, but you couldn't tell us everything. You probably just gave bullet points, That's the way the CV is. And they want you to come and defend them. Number one, you should be confident because if truly you did those things you wrote, like if truly, then you should be confident about them. While there will be a bit of anxiety because you are meeting strangers, it's normal. So I say to people that I see interviews as dating, you're going for a date. You both have seen yourself maybe on Facebook or anywhere in church, and then from distance you've been talking online, and then you're like, oh, let's meet for the first time outside. Trust me, both parties will be anxious. That's something people don't know that the interviewers are also very anxious. It's not PhD defense, master's defense in school or whatever defense you're doing, COS or or your assignments. No, neither is it like a presentation where they're coming to come and give you like some smackdown. No, they're interested in you. That's why they ask you to come. Their prayer or their hope is that you are the right candidate based on what you wrote on your CV. They are wishing that you also will be able to defend it and they will love it and then they will pick you. While we have a lot of people that come from the interview, they usually have the same hope, except it is just for formality. They have somebody they want to employ. That's why they won't really be anticipating you coming. They're just like, let's just do this thing. But again, like I said, recruiters or your employer, potential employer, hiring managers are usually very anxious as well, but maybe not as much as you. They just want to be sure that you're not coming to waste their time. So they hope that you're the best candidate. Think about that and understand that it's like dating. Both of you want to see, I saw this picture online, I've seen her before, I've not seen her physically. I hope she's the kind of person, he's the kind of person I like based on her personality. So you're coming to come and converse. See interviews as bonding. You're there to come and interact. It's more like an interaction, not like this question and answer thing where you're doing a quiz and they say blah 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 blah, and you say yes, and then 2 plus 2, you take 10, then you keep quiet again. No, you would appear like an awkward person. So how do you then go to such interviews without presenting yourself that way, firstly, you must research the company. Two, the organization. Researching the company means you have to know about them. And this is what takes us to this. With the information posted above and the knowledge of my background and job description, now, and as I'm using the company name and telling my experience. Now, this thing is saying that here, before this prompt, you would have copied all the information that has to do with the company that is useful. Talk about the about. If you see jobs on LinkedIn, let me probably give you an example here. Let's see this. I don't know if you can see my screen. What's up? Okay, so when you see LinkedIn, I don't know if I'm sharing the whole screen. This I should leave here. Oh, yes. As you can see LinkedIn, please type LinkedIn if you can see. Okay, so jobs. And can I just hide this guy here? Uh, second. Okay, good, perfect. Thank you very much, people. So let's look at this data analyst at. So this is it. You see, the first you say about a job is about the Royal Ballet School is a world-renowned institution dedicated to nurturing this. So the first thing you copy is this about the job. They are telling you about the organization. So you say, I ChatGPT, I'm preparing for an interview with so. Yeah, with Royal Ballet School. And this is what they do. The Royal Ballet School is a this and that. Now, what you can do again is to go to the school, probably their profile, right? And check their, maybe it could be, like I said again, about check their mission, their values, and all sorts of things. You copy that as well. Then you paste it on ChatGPT. Let me see if I can show you that. Um, no chance. Okay, good. So you copy the first thing I said you should copy the other time is going back to the job again. Sorry. Good. So you copy this. I'm showing you how I do things and how it's been working, and this is how we get massive results. You copy this, paste it on ChatGPT. But before that, you would say you're applying for a role of a data analyst or data scientist or whatever at school. That's sorry, at the Royal Ballet School. And then you come to their about. Sometimes you go to their website to do this. Then you copy all this information as well. And this is their overview. I'm just showing you, I'm not going to run the query or the prompt. Then you copy this and you say, yes, this is the about the organization. And this is about the role. The next thing is the role you're applying to. You want to copy the job description. Yeah, they are telling you these are your main duties. Well, this is what you'll be doing. I know, but you probably don't need that. They wrote your essential criteria. This is what they want. They said a degree in data science, statistics, computer science. Let me tell you something. When most people see this, they'll be like, I don't have a degree in data science. I don't have a degree in statistics. I don't have a degree in computer science. They ignore this that says related field. And from that point, that was why I said mindset is important. People just knock themselves off and they say, I don't know anything about it because I can't apply. I didn't do data science, statistics, or computer science. Therefore, I can't apply for this. They said related fields. And the question is you have to say is what do they mean by related field? So far it's science, maybe. Even if it is not super related, what about you having the other skills they listed here? Because this I used to say that they are wish list. You can see the road desirable. They hope they can get somebody who has all these skills. Most of the time they won't. Not because they are not, we don't have people that can. I mean, virtually for me personally, I can do everything here. Let me put it that way. But I won't apply for this kind of job, to be honest with you. Why? It's because of the pay. They are paying 35K. Because of my skill, I won't take this. I understand this is not me being I'm just trying to tell you. So this is why they won't get somebody who can do all these things and who apply. I know sometimes maybe you are desperate, you need a job, but trust me, in 6 months or 3 months, you will be tired, or you just have another role calling you and you'll be getting more pay. But again, like I said, most of the time you won't get somebody who can do it. If you can't, so if you can do just half of this thing, most just go for it. So again, proven experience as a data analyst or in a similar role. This is where everybody in this section actually qualify for this. And said proficiency in data analytics tools, software, e.g. Look at this. E.g. is what they wrote here, not all the tools here. Remember, and I said I'm going to show you something in Python that will make your life easier at the end of the whole program. But here you're already touching Excel. Sooner, very soon, we're going to be dealing with Python. So you are qualified. I'm showing you things that you should see. Don't run away from stuff like this, especially if you're in the UK, because I'm using the UK data set. Yeah, this is my location, right? So again, strong analytical skills. I explained this to interpret complex data set. One of the complex data set is actually that one that has 252 columns. To be honest, it might not be much in terms of rows, but 252 columns is like complex, to be honest with you. But we can still have more complex. So complex is relative. I've dealt with more complex stuff. Yes, I know. But complex is relative. Don't allow the English to scare you. Then excellent communication and collaboration skills. You see, this is why we said you should be on the groups. You always find this on most data analyst jobs. They need you to be able to communicate properly. Communication, because you have to be able to break down the insight to the stakeholders. And that's why we're asking you to do reports. You see why you need to join that team and do your report? Because this is how you communicate your skill. This will give you an idea. This is how you can prove that you have done this because you have done it before. When you say excellent, how do you know you have done a report in your last boot camp or internship, and then this is what you presented? At the interview, you'll be confident because you did it. So this is me trying to tell you, preparing you for the interview already. All the things we are doing here, it's about how you're going to land a role or improve your current job or even land a higher role. Anything, you can apply all these tools and skills. Collaboration skills. Many of us don't communicate with others on the group. We don't talk. You say you are shy or you don't like talking, this is it for you. You need to be able to collaborate. You want to do it alone, you need, please, ability to manage multiple projects and meet deadlines. Yes, some people say they are busy. I am busy as well. Everybody is busy, but I hate to use that word because I'm not Buhari or who's the president of Nigeria now, Tinubu. I am not. I expect him to be more busy. But if you say you are busier than him, that's fine. But I won't come to you and tell you I'm busy. I hate to say it because we are all busy. But what we do is we create time for things that we count important at that moment. At that moment. So please, you should be able to see how you can manage multiple projects at the same time. This is a project. Somebody is asking a question, and then I would give you the opportunity to speak. Familiarity with healthcare data and performance metric. Again, like I said, once you're able to do 2 or 3 on this thing, just go for it. And again, most of these ones are soft skills. So let me say from year to year now, everybody can touch these ones, honestly, based on what we have done so far. Somebody's asking the question. Mr. Paul, right? Kindly unmute your mic so that we can take your questions quickly. So I'm going back to that. So please don't, if it's related to us, can you unmute your mic? Can you?
Yes, sir. Good evening, doctor,
Okay.
sir.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, sir.
Yes, sir.
Go
Okay.
ahead, sir.
Thank you so much. Yeah, my question is this: like, for from this thing you're saying, actually,
Right.
you've made me see it in another light. But there's another question I want to ask. Like for this particular one of the essential criteria is proving experience as a data analyst. But most of the ones have been seen, they
Yeah.
specify. Some would say 5 years experience. So some will say 3 years experience. So those kind of things sometimes just make me just log off. Ah, I don't think I can apply for this. So, but how do we deal with that kind of situation when they've specified a particular year experience in data analysis?
Right. Thank you very much. I'm getting again. Let me show you something. Okay, I'm not. I don't know. I think you can see that. So I won't. RTC is in class. I wouldn't want to use our CV as an example. We just go for my downloads and see Control J and see. Uh, okay, so let me see if I have one. Uh, trying to. So a lot of people send me CVs and then So a lot to catch up with. I hope I can get one that I transformed. Otherwise, okay, let's see this. Uh, okay, let's work on this. Let's look at this. I hope it's the first one. Yes, let's go on this. And yes, perfect, perfect. You can see what we have turned this CV to. Now, look at this. You can see my screen, right? Are you there, Mr. Paul?
Yes, sir.
You can see
Yes,
my
sir. Yes,
screen.
sir.
Good. This
Yes, sir.
person never sat in a data analyst role because it didn't sound like it here. But by the time we transformed this CV, she had too much experience to count on. See, look at this. Day-to-day recording of financial transactions with the use of Microsoft Excel. What are we doing here? We're using Excel. Again, monthly ensuring accurate end of month accounting, reconciling any discrepancies and running reports. What are you doing as a data analyst? Do you get that? If you think well in the role you are, or you've not even worked, like I said, even if it was school, I will check 1 year. Even if it was school, trust me, during your program, you must have used this person analyzed a data set during the master's program. During your accounting program, you must have used Excel. You must have, tried to cross-check accounts and do all sorts of things. You've been using that data analytics skills. Now, they said in a similar role or experience as a data analyst or experience of data analysis. See, all those stuff are just words they use interchangeably. Don't allow any one of them scare you. The question is, if you can think well, you look at the roles you have been. In fact, I said this one. There was a particular 1 year that I transformed. Yes, I will add it to it. And if you look at this CV now, if I show you the transformation, you'll be wondering that how did we arrive here from there? And I asked the question from her, have you been working with your mom? Yeah, yes. I think I mentioned that in the last class or one of those classes. Have you been in a shop to help her sell? Yes. That means you've been analyzing data. Either you've been helping her to take records, you've been helping her to cross-check things to be sure that there is no missing funds. You've been even trying to track your sales to be sure that you can track is it inventories or something like that and know what do we need to supply, what do we need to take. So many of us worked in as an Igbo man, probably your uncle was selling parts or you've worked in specific roles that you've been using the analytic skills, maybe not on those tools, but you have the experience. There are two different things. Experience of using a particular tool is the experience of using Excel. For whatever it is, you have been using Excel since forever. Or the experience of working in a similar role, a role that requires you to probably submit records or drop monthly records, reports, go through records, reconcile records, and all sort of things. Start to think beyond. Or during your final year project in the university, you actually analyze it after you took the record of all those chemical compounds and the reactions. You have been using the tool during your internship, during your COS. Even as a teacher, you've been using Excel or one reporting tool to analyze your students' results, to know who scored the highest, who scored the lowest, to be able to put them in position. You have been doing a lot of that. Think about it. You even do averages. You do some. You calculate their test scores. You have been using those tools. Now we are teaching you how to now take it up a little by adding those things. Pivot table. You have been doing that. For me, I'll tell you mine, to be honest with you. I claim almost a decade of experience in analytics. The first 5 years of my career, I was in research. And I wasn't using Excel precisely. I was using MATLAB and Maple. Those were not tools that we use currently these days. I was analyzing data. I was visualizing data. I was showing graphs. I was predicting. I was doing all sorts of things. I was doing a lot more of mathematical analysis, but I was using those tools. So I've been in the field. I understand what it is to analyze data, what it is to forecast or predict. You don't get that. So that skill is useful. I was trying to look at something at work today. Is a new role, and then I saw that. This is related to sensitivity analysis. This is something I was doing in another field entirely. Now, I'll tell you where I was doing that. I was doing that while I was predicting the spread of diseases, specifically Ebola in 2014. And that was when I started doing sensitivity analysis and all down to my last publication and up to now. And then somebody was trying to talk about that, about this time around, they're trying to calculate how how to discover a company that goes bankrupt or something like that. Do you get it? And I'm like, okay, this sounds like sensitivity analysis to me. And it was. Do you get it? So I've been in the field, I've been using that skill, I've been playing around that thing. Everybody here has been doing something related to analytics. Like I said, it might not even be on paper. So you can claim the experience. Again, if it's a voluntary role, they didn't say, in that thing that you saw here, did you notice anywhere where they say paid experience here, or if you were paid, proven experience as a data analyst or in a similar role? Like you said, they specify. So what I'm saying is this, be careful anyway. Entry level roles usually ask for 2 or 3 years. In Nigeria, in the UK, maybe 6 months, 1 year, you probably will be able to. Yeah, they didn't even specify the number of years here. So be careful. Don't claim 5 years of experience when you actually just started learning the tools. But you have been analyzing data. So at least within what I'm telling you, some of the things you know already. There are people in the industries. Somebody here, one of the your mentors can testify to it. He employed somebody in his working place, and then they discovered that the person doesn't even know some basic tool. He wasn't even employed as a data analyst. He is just more like somebody sitting in another role, but could analyze data and do more stuff than the person that was employed as a data analyst or a business analyst, business intelligence analyst. Do you get that? So don't allow fear to hold you back. There are so many people in the industry working as data professionals who can do half of what you can do now. And that's why I made a post on LinkedIn that the tech industry, ideally, except that people are showing you something different, doesn't require you to know everything everybody knows, but requires you to know what you know and know that you know this thing and be able to use it to solve a problem or to bring profit to a business. As you go, you master the tools. As you go, you improve yourself on the tools that are necessary per time, all that. So what I'm telling you is step in and you will learn on the job. Everybody is learning something on the job. I'll be honest with you. Fine, maybe after 5 years, 10 years, you think you know, but do you know technologies are coming out every day? So if you say you are the master of all, maybe you are the one who created a tool that they just brought out. And then there are a lot of tools, ChatGPT is improving a lot of technologies. So you can't really say you can catch up with all these things. So why are you disturbing yourself trying to learn everything? So I'm saying to you, 2 years of experience or 3 years of experience is what they asked for. You can claim that using your NYC days, your research days, even while you are still in school. Again, that's why I said start engaging yourself. Do you know something that in 6 months, in 3 months, you can gain so much experience, so much hands-on that it will look like you have been in this field for 3 years or 2 years. I'll be honest with you. It's possible. And that's the target I set for myself that in this industry, let my 1 year of experience look like 3 years of experience. Let my 2 years be like 6 years, or let's say 5 years. Let my 3 years be like that is it. I'm trying to double down on the experience. And this involves you doing a lot. You have to jump on problems to be able to solve. You have to think, you have to dabble into stuff like try to learn as quickly as you can. Do you get that? So what I'm trying to say is it you can claim the experience if you have been doing a lot that has to do with it, not directly using the tools. One, two, that what we are teaching you, if you are really doing it, is what they need in the industry. You think somebody will stand behind you and be looking at you and say, do this in my presence, don't ask anybody a question, don't go on Google, don't use ChatGPT. Nobody cares in the ideal world. If anybody is doing that as your current manager there is micromanaging you, and it's not really probably a good place to work. You know why? Because all of us we are Googling it. Sometimes we don't even know what we are doing. You wake up some days and you're like, am I really do I even know if I know this thing? And then you wake up some other day and like, I got it. I'm a champion in this thing. That's how it is. Because technology keeps coming and and again, there are days you are doing unless you are not pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone. There are days you are doing stuff you can't even do. You don't know if you can solve the problem, but you are trying. At the end of the day, you get help or you try it out and it worked. We are all testing and experimenting every now and then. Do you get that? So the idea is when you start working, they just want you to deliver. It's left to you to probably call a friend and say, please, have you done this thing? Can you suggest an idea? Go on Google, ask questions, use Stack Overflow, type it there. How can I do this on Excel? Power BI, how do I do this? How do I use Python to be able to automate this process? And you will learn. Give it 2, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, a week, a month. You will get better, to be honest with you. So don't allow fear hold you back. And don't allow that thing you put in your mind to say, oh, I don't have experience, so I run away. Again, like I said, don't go and apply to 5 years of experience. It's unrealistic for an entry level role, or let me say an associate role. What I mean is, why should they even ask for 5 years of experience in the first place? To me, it looks like they are trying to enslave you because you'll be earning more. But what they are trying to say is they want to pay you the money that an entry level person would get. So if you don't mind, yes, we give you the job. And that's why I said don't follow that pattern of applying for jobs alone. Push yourself out there. Make yourself discoverable. Then the story will be different. It's always different for me when recruiters reach out and when I go after them. The experiences are different. So what I've done is to put myself out there in a way that they come for me, and that gives me a different leverage. But if you are the one going after them, which you should do at least at the first instance, but continue to position for yourself in a way that they will look for you. You'll be discoverable. You'll be discovered, and they'll be like, this guy is good. I need him. Can I work with you? Try stuff, solve problems for people. Somebody in a room you can't enter will talk about you. Do you understand? Go on Upworks. We'll do a section on that later with the help of Mr. Anthony. Start putting your profile there. Get gigs. Tap into it. Solve problems. Even when it looks difficult, you will find a way around it. Trust me, you will. And then once you are done, you have that experience, and then you can begin to use that as a manifesto. Solve problems for free for people. Teach others. You get that? So please, that said, I know I've explained that, overflowed that. Um, so I'm gonna the next thing is to copy. Like I said, job description is usually like so. This is the we okay. I already copied that job. We are looking for a highly motivated this and this and this. That's the job description. Sometimes you might want to copy your main duties if it's not tiring. I mean, this looks long for me, but I mean, ChatGPT is not tire. Like it just wants just supply as much as possible information because the more information you give, um, the better results you get. So I'm going to paste this there and I'll say, yes, so this is where we are now. Now, this is so going back to what I showed you the other time. Where's the prompt? Oh, sorry. I used to see the prompt. Yeah, good. So it says, with the in the information posted above and the knowledge of my background. So this is what you're going to do. Once you have posted that, you send that. I'm applying for a role of a data analyst in so A and B company or organization, and this is what they do as you wrote it there. Then below is my CV. So you're going to copy the whole of your CV in Microsoft Word and you paste it on ChatGPT as well. Then to tell you, oh, with your CV, you look like a good fit. Try to do this. That's not what I asked you to do, Chat, because it will give you a response immediately. But this is the next thing you're going to do. You work with this prompt and say, with the information posted above and the knowledge of my background, that is, you have dropped your CV, right? And the job description, kindly draft me 10 strong interview questions and answers for the role, that specific role, as it is been, as you can see on the job, using STAR approach or STAR method. What do we mean by STAR approach? Remember, I said it the other day. It is the situation. What was the situation that warranted you to do that thing? Because you've written something in your CV already. Let me give you an example. Um, let's see. Okay, sorry. I'll use um again. All right. Industry. Oh, okay. Um, I'm trying to use something else. Okay. Let's. Okay. So, see this. Let's look at this. Okay. Let's look at this. Leverage data analysis techniques to provide comprehensive insights, spearheaded the establishment and okay, let's look at something like this, spearheaded an innovative tracking system, driving a 75 decrease in customer accounts. They need you to explain what led to this, right? So the situation is that you probably wanted to improve the customer account tracking to be able to probably discover errors and then treat it as quickly as possible. That is a situation. Um, you needed to coordinate and optimize customer accounts to do like to check the balance transfer, the direct debit. That is the situation. Do you get that? You needed to conduct an extensive research on the impact of ease of doing business on foreign direct investment in African countries. This is a master's thesis, like I said, like research, which is also it qualifies for because you use that Excel skill or whatever skill you use in that particular one. So again, that is a situation. Then what is the tax? What did you do? Oh, so I decided to use Excel to do something, or let me say I'm going to do this. The tax ahead of you is that you have been I want to reduce the customer error, and then I need to go through the account, do something like a tracking or set up a tracker in form of Excel to track errors and the likes. And then the action you took is using Excel. I use Excel to do this. Now let's go and look at what we have in the prompt we have here. So this is it now. So the questions and answers. So let's go through this. Describe now. ChatGPT generated questions based on the job description, and then answered it with that CV, the CV of this person now for that specific role. Now look at the first question. The first question is describe a time when you had to analyze a large set of data to identify cost saving opportunities. That is the opportunity to save your organization money. How did you handle it? Well, in my previous role, that is the way to answer these questions at interviews. So when you are doing your project, think that way, think in that manner. When you are writing your CV and we are in this class, we are writing your exams, your report, think about it that somebody is going to ask you at an interview in your previous work, even if they didn't ask directly, how did you do A, B, and C? Oh, I carried out HR analytics or marketing analytics. Yes. How did you do that? What warranted you to do that? What tool did you use to do that? Um, okay. What you warranted you to do that? I mean, what tool did you use to do that? And what was the result you got? So star says situation, task, action, and result. Like again, the situation you can read here, and we'll start with identifying cost saving opportunities in our procurement process. The trust was that's maybe NHS trust or something like that was looking to reduce its operational costs without compromising quality on quality. And what did I do? My responsibility was so this is my task to analyze purchasing data set to find patterns. ChatGPT broke all these things down. All this is all you need to prepare for the interview. Just go through it. Continue to go through it. Firstly, you must have read about the organization, so you know all the things that has to do with their values, their mission, what they are doing, the organization, the people you're going to work with, the manager, the people who will interview you. You have an idea of who they are. You're trying to find common ground. Like I said, interviews are like dating, right? You're trying to find something that is common to you both. Okay, excuse me, where you want to so because when you go for a date you want to make you know if you guys will go on and enjoy that relationship or it will lead to something is that you have things in common. I mean, let me not say totally, but you have common reasoning. You have things that where you can align on some things, and then it's like we are gelling. Let me use that English. We are really connecting. We are clicking, and that's it. So you must find how you click. The first is that you know them. From them, you have checked the company. Like, okay, your values are aligned with your values. My company, I think they talk about trustworthiness, talk about I think transparency is there, we talk about you ownership, being able to own your own part of the work and be ready to be responsible and for your whatever you do. So you own full ownership of your work. And that's good. Some people love it. And if it's something that I align with, I will say that too. Oh, I saw your profile on Facebook. I saw your picture. I saw this post. You love music. I love music. Oh, do you play the guitar? I go to church. I'm in the choir. Yes, I am too. You're finding common things. So you must be able to find that thing that is common to you. Fine, you might not find their profile on LinkedIn. They are not online. That's okay. But the organization would have an online profile. At least they would. Too. Tell them your values, the project they are doing, their things are interesting to you. You align with that. You get that, and that would help you. You want to show that you like to meet them. You are excited about talking to them, and then that's how your conversation should go with them. Then you talk about the action again, what you did. You can see this person, ChatGPT already highlighted the tools you used. That's to show if you did something right, you'll be able to tell about the tool you said you know how to use in doing those things. So if I've done something that has to do with automation, I'll be able to say that I use Python to automate. I use this and that to automate. I did SQL this. I use database queries, whatever. I analyze with Excel. I use Power BI to track, anything. You have to be able to say that. And what was the result you got? This is very, very important. Remember, I said it on your CVs that what did you achieve? Your achievements are important. This thing will stand out. I can easily see it from you. I believe you can too. Tell them what the results you got and then what was the value you brought to the organization. If you save them 15% in certain categories, if 15% of let's say 100K is how much people. I think I studied at this point in time. I studied Yoruba. Please tell me, 15% of a million. How much is that? Do you get that? 15K, 20% of 100K is 20K, right? Just think about that. And so if you save them 50% of a million, that's 150K. It's a lot of money that would pay one person's salary. So now multiply it by 10 if it's 10 million and how. So you might think it's more money, but when you think of a large stuff, you'll be thinking of how much you save the organization. And the organization want to have you. They really want to have you. They want to see that you work with them so that you can achieve the same result for them. Do you get that? And that's so the same ChatGPT gave a second question. Give an example of a time when you have to provide training on a new system to a group of stakeholders. Remember, communication was what they highlighted in that job description. It's not the same as this. But when you say you provide training on a new system to a group of stakeholders, excuse me, how did you ensure the training was effective? Now, the group of stakeholders may be um maybe your junior colleagues, doesn't matter. At that moment, they are the stakeholders, they are the important people. It could be your senior colleagues, or maybe the group of maybe the CEOs, the CMOs who don't know the tools, and you want to teach them how to use your dashboard in Python. Sorry, your Power BI dashboard. You have to be able to break things down and explain to them. So your communication skill is very important. You have to even be able to collaborate with them to help them learn properly because you need to be able to flow with them and say, can you get it? Do you understand it? And that's why you don't need clumsy dashboards. If perhaps you're trying to explain to them how to use that tool, you need to be able to break things down. Communication skill. That's why as a teacher, perhaps you have been teaching little children in the Sunday school, you have experience. Your soft skill is very, very important. Do you get that? You're a preacher, you're a pastor, your communication skill is top notch. You are a speaker, you are a moderator, you are a comedian. Those are skills you need. You need to be able to present in a way that they will love it. And those things are things you should take to the interview too. You get my last interview, they laughed when they answered one funny question or one question that seems funny to them or the answer. You see, you have to take your real self there, and that's why you have to love what you do. At the same time, be sure that you know your CV properly. This is another question. Can you tell me about a time when you had to negotiate with the supplier to get the best value for money? What was the outcome? Again, STAR method: situation, task, action, and result. I think I don't need to go like further to show you everything. They were like questions that were tailored specifically, and you can get 20 questions. If you can go through the questions, it will give you an idea of what they could ask you, and you have an idea. You don't need to cram it. That's the mistake you should make. You did those things. It will just kind of stay somewhere in your mind that once they ask you, you're able to pick it from there and then you just answer. So interviews will be very enjoyable if you go this way. Understand that you have to research the company, like I said. Tell me about a time when you had to negotiate because it's like a supply chain environment. It's like we're talking about procurement. So that experience is actually needed. And that's why this guy kept on talking about products, procurement, and all sort of things, talking about sales, negotiation, cost, and the likes. And then a lot of other things, a lot of other things. So everything you don't understand, you have to go through it. And these are questions that you could get to, and then they common answers to them so you can get answers to them. How did you collaborate, communication, and then look at the answers. You can get so many answers, experience and skills you can bring to the table. Data analysis. The question is what kind of system implementation and training, process improvement and operational efficiencies. Those are the things that we saw on the job description. So people, let me go back to this slide. You can do a lot with this and it will help your journey. It will help you also in your current role. And whatever role, like I said, go and apply these skills. You're a finance analyst, you are an accountant, you are even you're trying to pitch something to your clients. This would help you to understand the kind of questions, prepare the kind of your mind for the kind of questions they will ask you. The more you clear their doubt, the higher the chance of them dealing with you. If they have so many questions unanswered, they will probably not deal with you. This is what I learned when it comes to marketing and business. Yes, that said, I've talked about the common interview questions and formats. STAR method is usually the common ones. Then they ask you behavioral questions. Some of them are behavioral, some of them may not be. Behavioral questions are questions that talked about how you act, how you are as a person, your personality. Okay. So they want to say, can you tell me how did you undo a difficult manager or boss? How do you manage a difficult team member? Or how do you manage conflicting informations or suggestions? How do you mitigate between two parties that are not doing well? How do you manage a stakeholder that is not accommodating? How did you handle a project that went bad at work? Tell me of when you messed up or a big project. How do you handle it if you lose a big client just because your analysis went wrong? Those are questions you don't need, I mean, those kind of questions I won't say there are no wrong answers, but it's your answer if you really did. And then you'll be thinking, there was never a time I never worked. Let me help you. If they ask you, how did you mitigate? It's between two stakeholders or two team members, your manager and whoever, that were not really going together. Come on, think about your home. How did you solve the issue between your mom and your younger sister who were not really getting along? Or your dad and your mom had one big issue and then you needed to step in, not like they were in physical. Or your your friend, two friends were not doing fine. You needed to think about it. What you're doing is to bring out the context, you bring it out of that context and place it in a data analytics or whatever environment that you are at that moment. And think about it. So you're not trying to lie about what you didn't do. You do that thing, but not in that context. They just want to understand your thought process and how you see things. Yes. So how do you answer that? So there was this issue that involved two parties in my team, and you're talking about your team at home, where one of my stakeholders, my team member, wasn't really agreeing with the suggestion from the other person. And I was wondering why, and why the other person insisted they have to go this way. Your mom insisting that your younger brother shouldn't go out or go to play with the next door neighbor. And you needed to know why she's asking so that you can either explain to your mom or your younger brother. And they're like, so I sat both of them down differently and I asked, what is the issue? Mom, why don't you want to? But you won't say mom there. You just say, so I asked the other stakeholder or my manager, why don't you want us to use this method? And then he explained. And then you ask the other person, okay, then you help them to meet at a particular point and say, okay, if you're going to do this, maybe you should do this. Or this is the reason. Because most of the time, the most issues we have in the world is communication problem. If only we know how to communicate better, we won't have issues in outside at work, in our home, between people online and everywhere. How we communicate is about our communication skills most of the time. But something you say here will get somebody pissed off, and the other person would be able to understand it. Who are we, the personality, and then how you communicate stuff. That said, think about it out of one context and bring it to the other. Don't just knock your brain off and be like, I've not done this before. Sorry, I've never had any project that went bad. It could be your project in school. Maybe you've gone far and then your supervisor just told you, sorry, you have to start all over again. How did you handle it? Well, you can say, I had to go over the thing again and look at what the error is. And I'm like, okay, I went back to say, please, can I correct this, sir? Can I quickly go and get a new literature review or, to make sure I don't start all over again? Oh, the stakeholder is not really ready to engage. What did you do? Oh, maybe you have to call a higher colleague to help you talk to the stakeholder and see how you can really salvage the situation. A lot of things. Like I said, you could be a worker and then you're working for a client, maybe as a fashion designer, then you're one of your mentees, your apprentice spoils the customer's clothes. What did you do? The first is to communicate the problem to them, and but make sure that you have a way out of it, or you can let them know as quickly as possible. Probably they need that thing next week, and then you didn't tell them early, and then you got to know, we can fix it, but communicate it and then see what could be done. Okay, we can subsidize your next bill. I can quickly make this other one for you. You wear it temporarily, then we correct this one. You understand what I'm trying to say? And you're talking about it in data analytics context because they didn't ask if it wasn't. They just said, tell me how you were handling a project and it went bad, or how you handled the stakeholder that wasn't ready to relate, or you did they dealt with one big project and it didn't go as planned. We were talking the other day about how you go to recruiters. I'm sorry for how you timeline your job or what you're doing to be able to know that you can do this in 3 months or in 3 days, in a week or take 1 month. And we say that there's always a room for change, making adjustments. If you don't finish on time, you have to communicate that early to the stakeholder that looking at the rate at which you are going, I'm sorry, you might not be able to meet up with that deadline. Can we make some adjustments? You understand me? So it could be something like that. You are a fashion designer. I'm using that as an example because everybody, you have something you can show and use to answer behavioral questions. You don't know. Then tell the recruiter and say, okay, this is it. Or the hiring manager, there was a particular thing. Maybe you're unable to deliver the clothes and you call the client and say, I'm sorry, we won't be able to deliver this early unless we do this and this. Can I take away this? Can I not do this? Can I use this star? Maybe we can deliver this. Then after this time, we'll fix it back. Whatever method you decide to use that same idea to answer that question. So I'm teaching you the things that I do or I teach people to do, and it has worked for them because it's just the way you think. They just want to understand your thought process, your managerial skills, your stakeholder management skills, your communication skill, collaboration, and also thing. So a lot of questions will come in that way, and there are some questions you don't know the answers to, and that's what I'm saying different ways to tips to tackle technical interview questions and different ways to answer case studies. Sometimes you don't know the answer to those questions. Like I said, there are questions you know answers to that you would deliver very well, talk about them, but there are questions you don't know the answers to. There are questions that are behavioral questions. There's no wrong answer. Maybe they ask again about your strength and weakness. Make sure you are not talking about the weaknesses that are important. That are important to the organization. When you talk about time management, they wrote it in the job description that you need to be able to manage multiple tasks, and you're not good at multitasking. So it's my weakness, but I'm working on it. I'm telling you, why are you doing that to yourself? Or I'm not good at managing my time. I get easily overwhelmed when I have too many tasks to handle. That won't pay you. You have to talk about something else. Okay, and you don't just tell them the weakness, you tell them what you have done over time to improve on it. For me, I put pressure on myself when I have a task to accomplish that. I sometimes just leave every other thing and focus on that, which sometimes will make me go beyond my plan time. Like I also almost want to be perfect, but over time I learned that I need to be able to deliver a part of my work as early as possible to be able to get feedbacks. So you're telling them about the fact that I won't use the word perfectionist. It's like too common. People say I'm almost a perfectionist, and people see it as a weakness. So I've tried over time to be able to know it's too common. But at the end of the day, we all have that thing. Especially if you are in a new role, you put a lot of pressure on your head, and then that sometimes makes you want to make sure you deliver a perfect job. And meanwhile, you are delaying because you are struggling. You don't want to go back and say I'm not done, or you are not getting feedback early so that you can make corrections to what you are getting wrong. So tell them that this seems to be a weakness, but you're handling by learning how to deliver, to set deliverables per time, learning how to go and get feedback as quickly as possible because with feedbacks you can make corrections and things could be better. I learned that in the corporate world, in the corporate system, things sometimes don't get perfect. Nothing is there's continuous improvement, continuous iteration, continuous. So Stop thinking about trying to get everything done at a go. Break it down into chunks of stuffs and then go and deliver per time and show them where you are, give feedbacks and give an update of what you're doing. So that has helped me to avoid being waiting to be perfect. You can say a lot of things. They tell you about your strength. Oh, I'm this one that brings the different energy into the room. I'm talking about my experience in church most of the time. If I'm a member of the choir, for places I've been, not in some certain places anyway. I most almost like the life of the party. I trouble everybody and all sort of things. And that's like an energy you bring to the team too. That I'm so concerned about people. I don't want them to be bored, and so I'm like asking them questions. What that's something I do to the team. I bring that liveliness, and that's fine. It's a plus. So what I'm saying that it's about your behavior and who you are. So learn how to answer them. Prepare those kind of things like three or four strengths and weaknesses, how to handle difficult bosses, and how did you handle tasks that went bad. Prepare your mind and rehearse it. These are common questions. They might not come out fine, but make sure you have answers to them in case you've been asked. Okay, that's it. And that is why I said collaborate on this project, on this team, do reports, improve your communication. Okay, tips for technical interviews were done, the mock interviews and feedbacks. This is what we're trying to do. If you have an interview, set yourself those questions, give it to somebody else who asks you the questions and see yourself answering them. Then get feedbacks. Maybe you're using too many filler words, you're saying things that are not aligning. There's not, is it alignment between your statement? Is it congruence or whatever we use as words? They were not correlating. It doesn't seem you listened well. Maybe you were not listening to the questions. You were just jumping into the answers, or your answers were not aligning with the questions. Those are the feedbacks you get. And there's something I need to show you quickly. So that will wrap up this section. Let me use little about yeah. So this is something on Sway Microsoft. This is my old message. So when you are preparing for an interview, they usually ask, "Tell me about yourself." So many times it doesn't come that way. Can we meet you? Can you give me a little of your background? I mean, nobody jumps into the interview and start talking. Okay. While I think we have some extreme cases. One of your mentors went for an interview recently. Let's say our mentors went for an interview recently. And the first question I think he go ask, welcome, you go, and this and that. After the whole greetings and pleasantries, just teach me something I don't know. Like, teach me something I don't know. This was like, well, this question is dicey because how do I know you don't know what I want to teach you? They just teach me anything. And then it went on, and then the guy just, and at the end of the day, he got the remark that the interview was enjoyed. Like, I enjoyed this section. It was a conversation. I enjoyed it. I mean, he didn't prepare for that, but I'm saying that it might not be tell me about yourself. It might not be give me a little of your background, but usually you kind of have that kind of question. They have your CV already. Please, people, don't go and read your CV again. So I am Victor Adekunle by name. I study mathematics. I have this. I did this, and you are reading your CV again. We have your CV for crying out loud. So you have to show your storytelling ability, whatever profession, your ability to communicate that story in a way that will leave memories behind, that they will remember is something that will grab at the job. Like I said, interviews are more psychological. What you're doing is you want to leave an impression behind such that once the person leaves that interview, he still at home remembering that I interviewed somebody today. It was so special and different. Why they don't like talking about work? They couldn't but talk about you to their spouse or you understand at home and say, this guy was different. The charisma, the whole thing, they enjoy you. They want you to be in the team. Sometimes this even helps you. Believe me, you might get most of the questions wrongly and you didn't. If you are sincere, okay, I skip that part of telling them if it's a question you don't know the answer to. So I'll come back to this. Tell them I don't know the answer, but don't go straight and say, because imagine you called somebody for a date or you have a date with somebody and you lied or the person lied to you. Will you want to relate with them? On that date, you discover their lies. And they're like, have you been to somewhere have you traveled outside the country? Yes. Oh, where have you been to? Yeah, I've been to Lagos in Ghana. You're like, Lagos in Ghana? I don't know if there's Lagos in Ghana anyway, but I know Lagos is somewhere else outside the country that is not only in Nigeria. But I'm just saying, and then and they start talking, and you're like, okay, okay. In your mind, you're like, this one don't fuck up. Like you just messed up. You won't want to relate with that kind of person again because you know they've lied to you, right? And you can't trust them or even try to entrust your life to them because it's a relationship. You want to be able to trust this person on your first date. This is if you think about interviews that way, you see the reason why you shouldn't lie at interviews. Lie, I mean, don't tell them what you don't know. At that instant, you don't know. If you have written something on your CV, be ready to defend it. So what you can't defend confidently, that's why you have to rehearse. You have to know every line of your CV. If I'm building CV with you, I don't build it for you. I make sure that you understand everything you wrote and you have a story backing each of those lines up. So if you are building a CV and using the concept I'm sharing with you, make sure that you have your thought process is intact around that particular bullet point. So don't go there and say, "Do you know how to use Python?" And you have never used Python, and you said yes, or you placed it in your CV. That's why they asked you. They asked you that question, and you're like, "Yes, I've used Python," and then a friend of mine went for an interview that way and he got the CV template from somebody. And then he edited that CV template and he didn't remove a part of it. I was talking about SQL. Yes. And then they they asked him a question about that at the interview. He did not remove it because he felt maybe those are too. I mean, you've seen it in on job adverts, and you're like, yeah, it's a common tool. Let me leave it there. Maybe they won't ask. Never do that, please. Don't put anything on your CV you can't defend, and you're hoping that they won't ask for it. Please, oh, don't try it. Just just make sure you can defend everything. If you can't, to remove it. Then he placed it there, and so the recruiter then asked him a question about it, or the interviewer, and he said, I know I saw you wrote SQL in your CV. Oh, that's good. You have used SQL. Yes. Tell me this and this. Basic question, according to him, because he was the one narrating this, and the recruiter said, yes, I'm just so he had to say I'm just learning. I'm still at the beginning. Say yes, yes, this is one of the things you would learn from the beginning. I mean, these are like beginner's question. And then he went blank. He couldn't just handle it. And so he didn't get the interview, like he didn't get the job, right? It was declined. They gave him the usual message, love letter, unfortunately. And what they wrote as a feedback is because you said you have done this, you couldn't defend your CV. I mean, your experience isn't as what you claimed. I think that was the word. And because so they cited that particular example that is that you said you have done this in SQL and well, you couldn't even defend it. So please, whatever you don't know, say I don't know, but answer this way. I may not have the best answer for this question right now, but can I try? And if I'm not getting it, please guide me or let me know. You have removed that shame and you have pushed that thing from them. You have made them know you don't understand. You are trying. Do you understand that? It's just like my daughter telling me, Daddy, I can't lift this thing. Oh, you can't. Yes, it's heavy. I can't. Okay, try. Even if that thing falls off her hand or she's struggling to, I won't blame her. I'll probably support her. But imagine she says, yes, I can lift it. And I said, are you sure? And she said, yes, I can. And then boom, thing fell and she broke the stuff. I won't be happy because I asked her, do you know this thing? So even if they don't ask you directly, they ask you, have you used Excel before, SQL or whatever? And you said yes. You're the one who said yes. Then say something about it. And then you're unable to. We can't trust you with the role. We can't give you this job if we can't trust you. Do you get that? So if you see it that way, you see why you should never lie or tell them you don't know it. But don't use I don't know and then keep quiet. Just say, I may not have the best answer for this right now. Okay, so this if you have those three things in mind, that there are questions that you can answer and you dissect it, give us star method, give them in full, spend a little time to I said let them enjoy you. The ones that are more behavioral questions could be dicey, just prepare your mind. Whatever will be smart to understand why they're asking the question. If they're asking about your weakness, you need to be smart with it. If they're asking about some behavior, how you manage situations, how you handle stuff, be sure that they have a reason for asking. Again, it's about your thought process. The last part is questions that you don't know answers to. Once you understand that interviews will always come with those kind of questions, you won't have any fear. Prepare your mind because there's an escape route for each of them. You know the question, dissect it, answer. You don't know it, it's more of a behavioral question. Answer it to your own best of interest. Make sure you are sincere. At least it's about your weakness and your strength. It's about how you handle stuff. But think outside the box. Think about situations that are close to that, right? That you have done something like that. And the last part is if it's not something you know, tell them you don't know. Again, you don't need to know all the questions. You don't need to answer. It's just, again, going back to dating. If you're asking me all the questions and I don't know the answers to it, That's fine. I don't know. I mean, it's my date with you. I don't know it, and it's okay. So even if you ask me something and I don't know, I might go back home and then go and do research on it, and I drop a message. Nice to chat with you today. I love the conversation. It went fine. Thank you very much for the hospitality. Thank you very much for the jokes and everything. It was enjoyable. You understand? And your sense of humor and everything. Then you drop a message. So remember you said this thing. I've gone to search and I saw that, oh, it's a beautiful place. Oh, now I understood what you're saying. I didn't know this is what you were referring to. Now I've gotten a better idea of it. Thank you for showing me that this exists and all. That's what you do after interviews. Go home and give them feedbacks. Also, when you step in, don't forget, either it's a live on a virtual section, on face-to-face physical, you want to show that charisma. You want to smile always, put on a very nice clothes, even if it's at home. I'm just trying to say, show that they are important, say good things about them. Then when you go home, send feedback and still appreciate them, say lovely stuff. Everybody wants to hear good things. Who is in this room who is comfortable with somebody saying terrible things to them or about them every now and then? I don't think there's anybody like that. Who all the days of your life just want somebody to be telling you you are this, you are bad, you are terrible, you are not looking good, you're ugly. You understand my point here? You won't want to be comfortable around that kind of person. So move around and see people wear this stuff on their badge on their head that tell me something good. I need you to tell me something good. I want to feel good. Please make me feel good. If you live your life that way, thinking that somebody, not to deceive people, if you need to be frank with people, tell them. But at interviews, I mean, you're meeting them for the first time, you don't know what they're going through, you just want to be nice to them. The same way you expect them to be nice to you. So go there, compliment them, talk about what you see that is good about them and the company and the organization. Give them feedback as you go home. You will leave an impression and they will want to relate with you. They will be comfortable having you again or being around you. These are things that have worked for people going home to give feedback, telling them thank you. While you step in there, asking questions, show interest, ask you, how is your week going? Lovely. What about yours? And they tell you, well, it's been very busy. Oh, really? Is it been work or home? Yeah, my daughter's birthday is next week. These guys, especially here where we are, they like to chat. Then you can get there, yeah, oh, really, I have a daughter of the same age or the same answer, the same name or the same month, and then you can see you are bonding gradually, common stuff. I saw somebody, I think I've told too many people that my first interview, my manager used to play guitar. I've seen that on his profile. He loves music. I also play the guitar 14 years now. I placed that at the back, just right behind me. He saw that, and the first 10 minutes we were talking about guitar. What was the Holy Spirit for me? We were talking about guitar, and that gave me that. So that anxiety just dropped. That was my first interview. First interview. You understand that? And that's in the UK anyway. So you get that. And then he showed me many guitars in the office, many, about 4 or 5 on the guitar stand. I was like, wow. So we started talking really, and that was it. So by the time we continued the interview, there was already this stuff, and that's it. They want to show that you are teachable, you are somebody they can bond with, you are not moody, you have a good charisma. So people go with that kind of thing to an interview and you would love it and you enjoy it. Don't go with fear. You can handle every question. You don't know, you tell them you don't, you can try. If they don't, some people will help you. They will even give you a guideline or concept. They will even give you clues. Honestly, it happens every time you do that thing, most of the time. Tell them you don't know, but tell them you will try and tell them to guide you if you are not getting it. Because at the end of the day, they just want to show that you make an attempt. You understand? They want to see if you are making an attempt, and then if you're the right candidate, they don't want to waste their time interviewing several people over and over again. If you show that you're that kind of person who's teachable, who's sincere, who can be honest, that you don't know something, yes, you are probably the right candidate. That could revive your image, even if you have been getting all the questions wrongly. Like I said, so back to this one. This should be like hold on please, quick, few minutes, 3 minutes. Since you're not seeing my face. Yeah, so let me remove my camera then. Not useful again. Good. So there's supposed to be a background knowledge or story of who you are, your journey so far, and that's what you should put in mind when you are building your CV. Make your CV like a storyline and let them see how you have transitioned from one thing to another. Show your growth. Show your growth. I think I've been the only one speaking since. I don't know if you are getting any sense in what I'm saying and I'm just speaking to myself or wasting your time. Note this section, you will need it sooner or later, even to interact with people in business. Like I said, make people feel good. Not don't lie to them, but at least be kind. Type sense. Now, this part is the last part because before you go for interviews, thank you very much, people. Before you go for interviews, have a story. You see, don't just jump from one profession to another and say, I was an accountant, then yes, and then it relates. You've been doing analysis, yes. How did you grow from there? Okay. How did you transition from one field to another? I mean, who would be comfortable to employ somebody and a plumber to come and work in your house and say, who is saying to you that last week I was working as um, a fashion designer, then a year before I worked as a gatekeeper. 3 months ago, I dabbled into selling shoes, but I stopped because there was no sales. So I have to move into. And then you're like, you can trust that this guy is able to do what he's coming here to do. He said he used to be a barber and then he stopped that and he became an engineer. I can see there's this name Ugo Agbolitika or something like that. Please, can you mute your mic so that I won't get background noise there? Okay, so good. My how would I trust you? How can you trust that kind of person? I'm sure you start doubting. Are you sure this guy is competent? Because that's where it happens. That's how it happens. You start asking questions like you said you were doing this one year ago, then you started doing this one. Then you start, I mean, how can you marry the two? So you don't because when you claim years of experience on something, you need to have a storyline. And then if you say you are a data analyst and all the roles you have done in the past is like you have been in the data analyst role all your life, it looks unreal. Especially if you claim you have 3 years of experience and then all the roles in your CV are like data analyst, you're gonna shoot yourself in the leg. What I'm trying to say is this: if you have been maybe from your school, you have been a sales analyst, or you can say marketing manager or marketing analyst, or something like sales optimization engineer, or just say something like that. I'm saying that you have to find the keyword in what you have done in the past that relates with what the role you are currently applying to. And if it's not relevant, don't put it in your CV, but make sure there's no gap in your CV. So, but how you need to show how you transitioned. Now, I'll show you something. Yeah, I hope I have that CV. So I'm gonna open it and then show you. Fully, I'll get it and then share with you the growth and how the person moved from point A to point B. Let's review that. Okay, good. This is it. Yeah. So you will see the way the CV is, and then you will see the connection. So it's opening. You can see this, and then let's do this one. You see, this was a CV you saw the other time. That's all we had in that CV was just accounting assistant, accounting manager, and see how we have made it better. Now, look at this. This person was trading cryptocurrencies. That was it. But I got to know here that there are so many things we do, for example, in Nigeria that, or even everywhere, people that we don't count as skills, and they are skills, like skills. Because you can do them easily. Some people are paying to learn that thing. So because you are doing it for yourself and you think, just like you are the best cook in your house. So people are going to school to learn how to cook. They shouldn't just show you the recipe. You are good to go. You are making magic. And you don't know you can package that as a skill. I'm just saying, this person has been doing this for a year on our own, self-employed, making money. And I'm like, okay, what were you trading? Cryptocurrencies. It's a digital asset. What do? You analyze the market before you step in. And then this is a role for you already. That's what I'm saying that you've been doing analytics for years. Maybe not the same tools, but we do all these other analytics. We do analysis on the market. We use other tools, indicators, and all sort of things to track trends and all sorts. So if you are traded, or maybe you are into forex here, you are an analyst, you are a data analyst, you are a market analyst. Do you get that? Maybe you did that for a while because all those tools shows you trend, right? So you do trend analysis. You can be a marketing data analyst for somebody and you notice the trend and you're like, okay, this is what will happen. This is what you should do. You see the advert is not correlating with the result. What do we do? You check the trend. And you see more Power BI dashboard will always show us trend. So you can use that to predict the trajectory of the market and all sort of things. So you can see the growth from being an accounting assistant to an account manager to digital assets, something related to account and marketing. Then from there, went for a postgraduate degree and then data analysis. There's a correlation because the person did something accounting and finance, and then the person did analysis of impact of ease of doing business on foreign direct investment. We apply statistical and data modeling. So you already saw the transitioning from this to this, and then from this one to this one, and then to this one. Let your CV correlate. Like there must be growth. Like I said, don't change everything. It will be awkward just with data analyst, yeah, data analyst, everything. No, that's not sensible. If you look at my CV, the same thing. That's how I arranged it. I was a bit I was into research, so I was like in that particular one wrote quantitative analysis and modeling, quantitative analytics and modeling. That was my research. And then it should have been into the analytics field for years before that time. And then this was also in my CV because I was trading cryptocurrencies in Nigeria. And then so I analyzed the market, I traded data assets, and then yeah, this one was before mine. It was at the same down for me. It was happening at the same time as this. So it was my PhD, and then after that time, I became an insight analyst in the company in the UK. After that time, moved from insight analytics to teaching, being a mentor on ATL on data analytics, and then tech in transit. Do you get that? And then move from that place to a data analyst in another company. Then from that role to a data scientist role, MIT also spent like 12 weeks, 6 months, 3 months analyzing different data sets, machine learning algorithm, and all sort of things, doing what's it called, hackathons and all. Then from there, move to a data scientist role and now a data engineer role. Do you get that? There has to be a connection in your CV. Do you get that? So people don't just jump. Also, think well about the role you are in or you have done in the past, and you see there might be an element of analytics there. Think well. We can always find a way to link it. And that said, and that will take you to what we have here as this a little about Victor Adekunle. Now, look at my story. This is not all you will say, but you will notice my accent. If I was doing some of my videos, and then you notice this, I'm making just for myself here. I wanted to say that when we started this boot camp, that you notice me switch from sometimes one accent that sounds like it's too, and another time you'll be hearing that Nigerian Ekitiman accent. I'm sorry. Um, this is it. We need to speak a little like them here so that they can understand it. Otherwise, you'll be pronouncing the same thing over and over again, and they won't still understand. So this is not me or any one of us trying to form. I mean, I don't know of other people. Let me say, talk of myself. So sometimes, as I'm leaving work, I'm closing work, and I'm starting, I was talking to people. So using their accent to relate with them to an extent so that they can hear me, right? And then when I'm back into the business with my people, right, I unconsciously switch and then I start to go like local, local, local. So anything you see, just apologies for that. So I notice anybody will notice that. So once I'm sitting at the interview, I talk about this. Perhaps you can tell from my accent that I'm from Africa. They can tell. They know the difference. Accent, Asian, means maybe an India, an African, or whatever you get. So when I grew up, so I tell them about my story. It's in a very short, it's not like this long, meaning that this will be a summary. What I would say is a summary of what I've done, but it makes it interesting. Story showing my storytelling ability. I grew up in Nigeria, the country with the largest population in Africa and the largest oil reserve. We don't need that. Depending on the role, if that story relates with the role, if it's something that will show your expertise or show your journey, what this is, I'm trying to do with this is to show my resilience, my strength, to show how the because because I wrote here, but amidst the struggles, so I was privileged to have attended one of the best institutions in my continent. I don't even know if it's one of the best. I'm just saying, And then one of the best decisions, that's why I say one of them I made, I'm grateful for in my life is to have studied mathematics. And that's the foundation of programming and technology. And that, brought me to where I am. And then I pursued my master's and degree in mathematics and PhD and all sort of things. And then started analyzing data. So this is where I got introduced to analytics properly. And then from there, analytics, market analytics came into this place. I've been mentoring for like let's say 9 years now or so on different things. You get the idea. And here's the game changer. You want to put a story. You know how you tell stories. You don't just say everything. So I say this. Here's the game changer. It's like you trying to change their mood, and so they can pay attention again in case you are losing them. And then talking about this, why I use this line most of the time when I said these things, to be honest with you. Why I use this line most of the time is because some people love families. They can relate that you have a beautiful wife and a lovely daughter. Do you understand that? Some people just love the way you coin your words. And then I discovered opportunities and this and this, and this is the most interesting part. In academia, your publication is usually the metric to measure your impact. You just publish papers. And sometimes nobody uses those things. And some people do, but that's the only way to show that we are doing something. But now in the tech industry, I found it very rewarding that I see the result of what I do. We don't even do all this tough mathematics we do in, you know, mathematics in the real world. We don't need those complex stuffs. So this is my story. And then at the end, I link it to the organization. And this is why I love to work with you. This is why when I saw this so company, I fell in love and this and this. And because they do this, I'm interested in these. Like my current company, they do stuff about finance. And I'm interested in entrepreneurship. So I want to understand why companies go bankrupt. And this is what fascinated me about because we are into credits, what's it called, the scoring. Do you get that? So what are we saying here? You are connecting that and you're able to tell a story. All these things I've said, is it like, has it taken, I mean, did it take 5 minutes to say no? I mean, most of the time it's like for 90 seconds. Okay, so, and then you are good to go. So always go and, if I give you this template, go and work it out. Prepare this and start to rehearse it in front of your mirror so that you stand out. Many people will go to the interview and they go and read their CVs, but you want to appear differently. You want to appear as a different person. And thank you very much. And let me see, this will be the end. And yes, mock interviews and feedbacks, like I've mentioned all these ones. People drop your questions and say something.